Let go of him!
Folasade's voice cut through the evening air like a blade. She didn't think, didn't calculate. She just moved. Two men had a child cornered against the wall of a convenience store. One had his hand wrapped around the boy's thin arm. The other blocked any escape route. The child was crying. Folasade dropped her grocery bag and stepped between them. "Step back," one of the men said. His accent was thick.
Walk away.
Eastern European, maybe. His eyes were cold. "He's a kid," Folasade said, her heart hammering but her voice steady. "Walk away." The second man laughed. Dark ink crawled up his neck. "You don't know what you're doing." "I know exactly what I'm doing." She planted her feet. "Touch him again, and I'll scream until every phone in this neighborhood is recording your face." The first man moved closer. "You think you're brave?" "I think you're pathetic," Folasade shot back. "Two grown men cornering a child. That's your definition of strength?" The child tried to pull free. The man's grip tightened. "Last chance," Folasade said.
His father
her phone
won't
was
forgive
already
this.
in her hand.
And
Camera
neither will the
pointed at them.
police.
"His father won't forgive this, and neither will the police." The tattooed man sneered. "You don't know who his father is." "Then call him," Folasade challenged. "Let's see who arrives first, the police or him." For a moment, nobody moved. Then the child bit down hard on the man's hand and twisted free. He ran straight to Folasade and grabbed onto her jacket. "You just made a mistake," the first man growled. Tires squealed. A black Mercedes pulled up so fast it left rubber on the pavement. The door opened before the car fully stopped. Kang Ji-hoon stepped out. Folasade had never seen someone command space just by existing. He was tall, dressed in a dark suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. His face was unreadable, but his eyes were fire. He looked at the two men.
"You better
One
explain
word.
in clear terms what
Explain.
is going on here."
Both men froze. The one with tattoos actually took a step back. "We were just..." He started. "I wasn't asking you." Ji-hoon's voice was quiet, which somehow made it worse. He looked at his son. "Minho, come here." The child ran to his father and wrapped his arms around his waist. Ji-hoon
Are you
knelt
hurt?
down, his hands gentle on the boy's shoulders. "Are you hurt?" Minho shook his head, tears
She
streaming.
saved me, Appa.
"She saved
The lady
me, Appa.
saved me.
The lady saved me." Ji-hoon stood slowly. His gaze moved to Folasade. For a second, she saw something flicker across his face. Surprise, maybe. Gratitude. Something else she couldn't name. "What's your name?" he asked. "You don't need it." Folasade's adrenaline was crashing. Her hands were shaking now. "I just need to know he's safe." Police sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Ji-hoon glanced at the two men. "Leave, now, before I change my mind." They didn't argue. They vanished into the narrow alley between buildings like smoke. A police car pulled up. Detective Kim stepped out, young but sharp-eyed. He surveyed the scene, and his expression tightened when he saw Ji-hoon. "Mr. Kang?"
"Mr. Kang."
the detective said carefully. "Ma'am?"
"Ma'am, I'll need a statement from you."
"Of course," Folasade said. Ji-hoon interrupted. "She's coming with me first." Detective Kim's jaw tightened. "That's not how this works." "It is tonight." Ji-hoon's tone left no room for argument. Folasade stepped forward. "I'll talk to you, detective, but then I'm leaving. I have somewhere to be." "Please don't go."
Please don't go.
Minho's small voice
Please.
cracked. He was still holding his father's hand, but looking at Folasade with eyes too old for his age. "Please." Something in her chest twisted. "I'm not going anywhere yet," she heard herself say. 20 minutes later, after giving her statement to Detective Kim, Folasade found herself sitting in the back of Ji-hoon's Mercedes. Min-ho sat between them, his small hand wrapped around hers. The car was silent except for the soft hum of the engine. "You could have died," Ji-hoon said finally. He wasn't looking at her. His eyes were on the passing city lights. "So could he," Folasade replied. "Most people would have walked past." "I'm not most people." Ji-hoon's driver pulled up to a high-rise building in Gangnam. The doorman opened the car door immediately. "Have dinner with us?" Ji-hoon said. Not a question, but not quite a command either. "I should go home." "You're my angel," Min-ho whispered. "Please stay." Folasade looked at the child's face, at the hope written there, at the fear underneath. "One dinner," she said. Min-ho smiled for the first time since she'd met him. The apartment was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul, minimalist furniture that probably cost more than her entire childhood home. Everything was clean, expensive, and somehow empty. A woman in her 60s appeared. She had kind eyes and moved with the quiet efficiency of someone who'd been taking care of this household for years. "Mrs. An, this is our guest," Ji-hoon said in Korean, then switched to English. "She'll be joining us for dinner." Mrs. An bowed slightly and disappeared into the kitchen. Min-ho pulled Folasade toward the living room. "Can I show you my drawings?" "Min-ho," Ji-hoon's voice held gentle warning. "Let her breathe." "It's okay," Folasade said. She followed the boy to a low table covered in sketch paper and colored pencils. The drawings were good, really good for a 7-year-old. Landscapes, buildings, and one recurring figure. A woman with long, dark hair, always smiling. "Is this your mother?" Folasade asked softly.
Is this your mother?
Min-ho nodded. "She's in heaven now." Folasade's throat tightened. She was beautiful. "Appa says I have her smile." Min-ho looked up at her. "But I don't remember it much anymore. It's getting blurry." Ji-hoon stood in the doorway, watching them. Something in his expression cracked, just for a moment, before the mask slid back into place. "Dinner is ready," he said quietly. The dining table could seat 12, but only 3 places were set. Ji-hoon sat at the head. Min-ho insisted Folasade sit next to him. The food was Korean. Galbi, kimchi jjigae, banchan spread across the table like a feast. "This is too much," Folasade said. "Mrs. An doesn't know how to cook for less than an army," Ji-hoon replied. The corner of his mouth almost lifted. Almost. They ate in careful silence for a few minutes. Min-ho kept glancing at Folasade like she might disappear. "What do you do?" Ji-hoon asked finally. "I'm a social worker. I work with children in the foster system." Something shifted in his eyes. "That explains it." "Explains what?" "Why you didn't hesitate. You're used to stepping into danger for children who aren't yours." Folasade set down her chopsticks. "Every child is someone's child, even when the system forgets that." "The system forgets a lot of things," Ji-hoon said. There was an edge to his voice now. "What do you do?" she asked. "Logistics." "That's vague." "It keeps people alive." He took a sip of water. "And fed. And employed." Folasade studied. Him, the expensive suit, the way the doorman had bowed, the police detective's careful tone, the 2 men who ran at a single word from him. "Logistics," she repeated. "Import and export, shipping, distribution networks." His answers were smooth, practiced. "Seoul connects to everywhere. Someone has to manage the flow." Before she could press further, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and his entire demeanor changed. He stood abruptly. "Excuse me." He stepped out onto the balcony and answered in rapid Korean, then switched to what sounded like Russian. His voice was sharp, authoritative. Nothing like the careful politeness he'd used with her. Minho didn't even look up from his rice. He was used to this. Folasade watched through the glass. Ji-hoon's back was rigid, his free hand clenched into a fist. He ended the call and stood there for a moment, staring out at the city lights. When he came back, his face was smooth again, unreadable. "Everything okay?" Folasade asked. "Business. Always business." He sat down. "Eat." But Minho was watching his father with worried eyes. "Appa?" "I'm fine, Minho." Ji-hoon's voice softened. "Finish your dinner." The boy looked at Folasade instead. "She smiles like Mama did." Everything stopped. Ji-hoon's hand froze halfway to his glass. Mrs. An paused in the doorway with more side dishes. Even the air in the room seemed to hold its breath. Folasade didn't know what to say. The weight of grief in this house was suddenly crushing. "Minho," Ji-hoon started, his voice rough. "It's true," the boy insisted. "When she smiles, her eyes smile too, just like in the pictures." Folasade reached over and squeezed Minho's hand gently. "That's the kindest thing anyone said to me in a long time." The child smiled at her. A real, genuine smile. And Ji-hoon looked away, but not before she saw the pain flash across his face. After dinner, Ji-hoon's driver took Folasade home. The car felt too big, too quiet. She gave her address in Isle, Itaewon, a modest apartment in a neighborhood that actually felt alive. "Thank you," Ji-hoon had said at the door, "for what you did tonight, for Minho." Anyone would have done the same. No, his eyes held hers. They wouldn't have. Now, sitting in the back of his car, watching Seoul pass by, Folasade felt the adrenaline finally drain away. Her hands were still shaking slightly. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You were very brave tonight. Foolish but brave. Mr. Kang wants you to know there will be security near your building for the next few days. Just a precaution." She typed back, "That's not necessary." Unknown number. It wasn't a request. Folasade stared at her phone. What had she walked into? When she got home, her grandmother was waiting up. Mama Aduk sat in her favorite chair, her wrapper still perfectly tied despite the late hour. She took one look at Folasade's face and set down her Bible. "What happened?" Folasade told her everything. The men, the child, the stranger who commanded fear with a single word. Mama Aduk's face grew serious. "Men like that don't say thank you. They collect debts. He's not dangerous. They always look safe at first." Her grandmother stood and cupped Folasade's face. "That's how they survive, by looking like something they're not. He has a son, a little boy who lost his mother. And that makes him human. But it doesn't make him safe." Mama Aduk's eyes were worried. "Promise me you'll be careful." "I promise." But even as she said it, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "Mr. Kang would like to see you tomorrow, to thank you properly. A car will come at 6 p.m. Folasade stared at the message. "You're thinking about going," Mama Aduk said. It wasn't a question. "He's just being polite." Sighed. Her grandmother only used her nickname when she was serious. Men like that are never just polite. Everything is a transaction. Everything has a price. "Maybe I want to check on Minho, make sure he's okay." "The child or the father?" Folasade looked away. Mama Aduke sighed. "You go. You don't come back the same. Remember that? The next evening, Folasade changed her clothes 3 times before settling on a simple dress. Professional, but not formal. The kind of thing she'd wear to a work dinner. The car arrived exactly at 6. Same driver, same silent efficiency. This time they went to a restaurant. Private room. Traditional Korean interior with low tables and cushions. Ji-hoon was already there, Min-ho beside him. The boy's face lit up when he saw her. "You came." "Of course I came." She settled onto a cushion across from them. "How are you feeling?" "Better now." Min-ho grinned. "Appa said you might not come?" Ji-hoon shot his son a look. "I said she's a busy person." "But she came anyway," Min-ho said triumphantly. Dinner was different this time. Lighter. Min-ho chattered about school, about his art class, about the dog he wanted, but his father said they couldn't have because of their schedule. "What kind of dog?" Folasade asked. "A big one. A protector dog." Min-ho's eyes were serious. "Like you." Folasade felt her chest tighten. "I'm not a dog, Min-ho." "No, but you protect people. That's what Appa says social workers do." She glanced at Ji-hoon. "You've been talking about me?" "He asks questions. I answer them." Ji-hoon's expression was neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. He's curious about the woman who stepped between him and danger. Anyone would have. "Stop saying that." Ji-hoon's voice was quiet but firm. "Most people cross the street. They pretend not to see. They tell themselves it's not their problem." He paused. "You ran toward it." Folasade didn't know what to say to that. Min-ho tugged her sleeve. "Can you come to my art show next week? We're displaying our best work and I want you to see mine." "Min-ho," Ji-hoon warned. "She has her own life." "I'd love to come," Folasade said, surprising herself. The boy's entire face transformed. Pure joy. Ji-hoon studied her for a long moment. "You don't have to." "I know, but I want to." After they ate, Min-ho fell asleep against his father's shoulder. The conversation shifted, became quieter, more careful. "He doesn't sleep well," Ji-hoon said, his hand gentle on his son's head. "Nightmares, ever since his mother died 2 years ago." "I'm sorry." "Cancer. Fast and brutal. She was gone in 6 months." His jaw tightened. Min-ho was 5, old enough to understand death but too young to understand why. "And you?" Folasade asked softly. "Did you understand why?" Ji-hoon's laugh was bitter. "No, I still don't." "How do you manage? Work and raising him alone?" "Mrs. An helps, and I've restructured everything to be home more." He looked down at his sleeping son. "But it's not enough. It's never enough." "He seems happy. He pretends well, like his father." Ji-hoon's eyes met hers. "We're both very good at wearing masks." Before Folasade could respond, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and his expression hardened. "I need to take this." He carefully shifted Min-ho onto the cushions and stepped out. Through the paper screen, Folasade could see his silhouette, heard the sharp tone, even if she couldn't understand the words. This time it sounded like Japanese. Min-ho stirred. "Is Appa angry?" "He's just working, sweetheart. Go back to sleep." "People always call when he's trying to be happy." The child's voice was small. "Mama used to say that too." Folasade's heart broke a little. Ji-hoon returned several minutes later. His mask was back in place, but she could see the tension in his shoulders. "I should take Min-ho home," he said. "Thank you for coming tonight." "Is everything all right?" "It will be." He lifted his son carefully. Min-ho's arms wrapped around his neck automatically, still mostly asleep. Can I have my driver take you home? I can catch a cab. Please, I'd feel better knowing you got home safely. There was something in his voice, not quite pleading, but close. Okay, she agreed. In the car, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Thank you for making him smile. We don't see that enough anymore. J.H. She looked out the window at Seoul's nighttime glow and wondered what she was getting herself into. Over the next 2 weeks, Folasade saw them 4 more times. Min-ho's art show, where his painting of a woman with wings won second place. It's you, he'd whispered, my guardian angel. A casual lunch that turned into an afternoon at the park, watching Min-ho play with other children, while she and Ji-hoon sat on a bench talking about everything and nothing. Dinner at their apartment again, where she taught Min-ho how to make Nigerian chin-chin, and he laughed at her attempts to pronounce Korean words correctly. And once, unexpectedly, Ji-hoon showed up at the community center where she worked. He didn't say why. Just brought coffee and stayed for an hour, watching her interact with the kids in her program. You're good at this, he'd said after. So are you, with Min-ho. That's different. He's mine. These kids need someone too. You didn't have to come, but you did. You sat with them, talked to them like they mattered. They do matter. Not everyone sees it that way. Ji-hoon had looked at her then, really looked at her. You make it hard not to. Now it was late on a Tuesday night, and Folasade was leaving the center after a crisis intervention with a teenage girl. She was exhausted, emotionally drained. A familiar black Mercedes was parked outside. Ji-hoon leaned against it, hands in his pockets. He looked tired, too. How did you know I was still here? She asked. I called earlier. They said you were handling an emergency. He straightened. I thought you might need coffee, or company, or both. It's almost midnight. I'm aware. Folasade felt something warm spread through her chest. Coffee sounds good. They ended up at a 24-hour cafe near Hongdae, the kind of place where tired college, students, and night shift workers gathered. Tell me about today, Ji-hoon said. So she did. About the girl who'd run away from her 3rd foster home. About the bruises she wouldn't explain. About the system that kept failing these kids over and over. I'm supposed to help them, Folasade said, stirring her coffee without drinking it. But sometimes I feel like I'm just watching them drown in slow motion. You save the ones you can. That's all anyone can do. Is that what you tell yourself? The question hung between them. Ji-hoon was quiet for a long moment. Yes, every day. What are you saving people from? Themselves, mostly. Bad decisions, worse circumstances. He met her eyes. The world isn't kind to people without options. So you give them options? I try. Through logistics. There was no accusation in her voice, just curiosity. Through logistics, he confirmed. But they both knew she didn't believe him anymore. Why do men watch the door when we're at your apartment? Folasade asked suddenly. Why does your driver carry a gun? Why did those men run the moment they saw you? Ji-hoon's expression didn't change. Because I'm careful. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now. Can't or won't. Both. He leaned back. Does it scare you? Not knowing? Folasade thought about it. It should. But what scares me more is Min-ho. What happens to him if something happens to you? Nothing will happen to me. You can't promise that. No, Ji-hoon admitted. But I can promise I'll do everything in my power to make sure he's protected. Always. Even from yourself? The question hit like a physical blow. Ji-hoon flinched. I should go, Folasade said softly, standing. Thank you for the coffee. He caught her wrist gently. Wait. She looked down at his hand, at the way his thumb rested against her pulse point, at the conflict written across his face. I'm not a good man, he said quietly. I've done things I can't take back. Made choices that keep me awake at night. Then why tell me? Because you deserve to know what you're walking into. And what am I walking into? Folasade asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Ji-hoon released her wrist, but didn't look away. Something complicated. Something that might hurt you. Something I should have the strength to walk away from, but don't. Because of Min-ho? Because of you. The words came out rough, like they'd been dragged from somewhere deep. He's not the only one who smiles more when you're around. Folasade sat back down slowly. Ji-hoon. I know, it's too fast, too complicated. You barely know me. He ran a hand through his hair, disrupting its perfect style. But Min-ho talks about you constantly. He asks when you're coming over. He draws pictures of you. And He stopped. You what? I look forward to Tuesday nights because that's when you usually call to check on him. I rearrange meetings so I can have dinner with you. Both. I drive past your community center on days I have no reason to be in that neighborhood. He laughed without humor. My security team thinks I've lost my mind. You have security. Always have. But they're more visible now, since the incident with Min-ho. His jaw tightened. Those men weren't random. Ice slid down Folasade's spine. What do you mean? They were sent, a message, a warning. Ji-hoon's eyes were hard now. In my world, you send messages through the things people love. Their children, their families. Who sent them? Competitors. People who think I've taken something that belongs to them. Have you? Yes. No hesitation, no apology. And I'd do it again. Folasade should have left. Should have run. Every instinct screamed at her to get away from whatever darkness surrounded this man. But she thought about Min-ho's smile, about the way Ji-hoon's entire face softened when he looked at his son, about the man who'd shown up at midnight with coffee because he thought she might need someone. What exactly do you do, Ji-hoon? She asked quietly. And I want the truth this time. He was silent for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. I control distribution networks across Asia, legitimate and otherwise. His voice was matter-of-fact. Shipping routes, supply chains, access to markets that officially don't exist. Otherwise means illegal. Gray. Most of what I do operates in the spaces between legal and illegal. The parts of commerce governments pretend don't exist, but everyone uses. So you're a criminal. I'm a businessman who understands that the world runs on compromise, on knowing when to push and when to yield, on protecting what's mine. Folasade stood again. This time he didn't stop her. I need to think, she said. I understand. Min-ho, I'll tell him you're busy. He'll be disappointed, but he'll understand. Ji-hoon stood too. Folasade, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let this go this far. Then why did you? Because for 2 weeks, I got to pretend I was just a father. Just a man. Not everything else I have to be. His smile was sad. You made that possible. She walked to the door, then turned back. Those men who had Min-ho, will they come back? No. How can you be sure? Because I made sure they understand the cost of trying. The coldness in his voice made her shiver. They won't touch him again. Folasade left without another word. For 3 days, she didn't answer Ji-hoon's calls, didn't respond to his texts, threw herself into work until exhaustion made thinking impossible. Mama Aduki watched her carefully, but said nothing. On the fourth day, Folasade's phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Folasade?" A woman's voice, shaking. "This is Mrs. An, from Mr. Kang's residence." Folasade's heart stopped. "What's wrong? Is Minho—" "Minho is in the hospital. Mr. Kang asked me to call you." The room tilted. "Which hospital?" "Seoul National University Hospital. 4th floor. Pediatric. Wing." Folasade was moving before she ended the call, grabbed her bag, ran for the door. "Sade," Mama Aduki called after her. "What's happening?" "Minho's in the hospital. I have to go." She caught a cab, gave the driver extra money to hurry, counted every red light like a personal offense. The hospital was massive and sterile, and she hated it immediately. She found the pediatric wing and stopped at the nurse's station. "I'm looking for Kang Minho." The nurse's eyes widened slightly. "Are you family?" "I'm a friend. Mrs. An called me." "Room 412, but—" The nurse hesitated. "Security is tight. Don't be alarmed." Folasade walked down the hallway and understood immediately. 2 men in dark suits flanked the door to room 412. They watched her approach with professional alertness. "I'm here to see Minho," she said. One of them spoke into a small radio, listened, nodded. "Go ahead." She pushed open the door. Minho was small in the hospital bed, an IV in his thin arm. He was awake, but pale. When he saw Folasade, tears filled his eyes. "You came," he whispered. "Of course I came." She moved to his bedside, took his hand carefully. "What happened, sweetheart?" "I got sick, really sick. Appa was scared." Ji-hoon stood at the window, his back to them. His shoulders were rigid. His reflection in the glass showed a man barely holding himself together. "Ji-hoon," Folasade said softly. He turned slowly. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. His suit was wrinkled. His hair was a mess. "Pneumonia," he said hoarsely. "It came on fast. He collapsed at school." "I couldn't breathe," Minho added, his voice small. "It was scary." "But you're okay now," Folasade said, smoothing his hair back. "The doctors are taking care of you." "I asked Appa to call you. He said you were busy, but Mrs. An called you anyway." Minho's grip tightened on her hand. "I'm glad she did." Folasade looked at Ji-hoon, at the raw vulnerability on his face. "Can I talk to you?" she asked quietly. "Outside?" He followed her into the hallway. The security detail stepped away to give them privacy. "Why didn't you call me yourself?" Folasade demanded. "Because I had no right to. Not after what I told you. Not after—" "He's 7 years old, and he was scared, and he wanted me here." Her voice broke. "Nothing else matters, Ji-hoon. Everything else matters. You were trying to protect yourself from getting involved in my life. I was respecting that." "By keeping me away from a child who needed me? By keeping you safe from a world that already took his mother, that almost took him." Ji-hoon's control was cracking. "Do you know where I was when he collapsed? In a meeting with people who would kill him without hesitation if they thought it would hurt me. And I couldn't leave, couldn't show weakness, had to finish the negotiation before I could get to my son." Folasade felt anger surge. "Then why do you do it? Why stay in that world?" "Because walking away means leaving a vacuum, means someone worse takes over, means people who depend on me end up hurt or dead." He leaned back against the wall. "I'm trapped in a cage I built myself." "Then break it," Folasade said. "Find a way out." "There is no way out. Not for men like me." Ji-hoon's laugh was hollow. Once you're in until someone puts you in the ground, or you're too old to matter. So Min-ho just watches you destroy yourself? Waits for the day those men come back? I protect him. That's all I can do. It's not enough. Folasade stepped closer. He needs a father who comes home, who doesn't have armed guards outside his hospital room, who doesn't have to negotiate with killers before he can check on his sick child. You think I don't know that? Ji-hoon's voice rose, then dropped again. You think I don't hate myself every single day for the life he has because of my choices? A nurse passed by, glancing at them nervously. Folasade lowered her voice. Then change. For him, if not for yourself. It's not that simple. Nothing worth doing is simple. They stared at each other. The anger between them was sharp, but underneath it was something else. Something that made Folasade's chest ache. He asked for you every hour, Ji-hoon said finally. Even when the fever was making him delirious. He kept saying, "Where's my angel?" over and over. Folasade closed her eyes. I shouldn't have stayed away. You had every right to. I told you I wasn't a good man. You were protecting yourself. I was being a coward. She opened her eyes. He needed me, and I let my fear get in the way. Fear is smart, especially around me. Maybe, but it's also lonely. She moved past him toward the room. I'm staying tonight, with Min-ho. You don't have to. I know, but I want to. Ji-hoon caught her arm gently. Folasade, if you do this, if you step back in, it won't be easy to step out again. He'll depend on you, need you, and I... He stopped. You what? I'll need you too, and I have. No right to need anyone. She looked at his hand on her arm, at the desperation hidden beneath his control, at the man who commanded empires but couldn't protect himself from his own isolation. Maybe that's exactly why you should, she said softly. Inside the room, Min-ho had fallen asleep. His breathing was rough but steady. Folasade settled into the chair beside his bed. Ji-hoon took the other chair on the opposite side. They sat in silence, watching the child sleep, both lost in their own thoughts. Around 3 a.m, Ji-hoon spoke. Her name was Yoonji, Min-ho's mother. Folasade looked at him across the bed. We met in university. She was studying art. I was studying business. She was everything I wasn't, light, free. She saw beauty in everything. His voice was quiet. When she got pregnant, both our families objected. Wrong backgrounds, wrong plans. But we didn't care. What changed? Life, responsibility. I took over my father's business, started expanding, started making choices I told myself were necessary. He stared at his sleeping son. She hated what I was becoming, hated the guards, the late nights, the phone calls I couldn't explain. But she stayed. For Min-ho, and because somewhere under all the darkness, she still saw the man she'd fallen in love with. Ji-hoon's jaw tightened. When she got sick, I threw everything I had at it. Best doctors, experimental treatments, flew specialists in from around the world. None of it mattered. I'm sorry. Her last words to me were, "Promise you'll be the man I know you can be." He finally looked at Folasade. I've been failing that promise every day since. Maybe you just need help keeping it. Is that what you're offering? I don't know yet, Folasade admitted, but I know that child needs people who love him, and whatever else you are, you love him fiercely. And you? Do you love him? The question hung in the air. I'm starting to, Folasade said honestly, despite every logical reason not to. Ji-hoon smiled, small and sad. That seems to be a pattern around us. Min-ho stirred. His eyes opened, unfocused. Appa? I'm here. Ji-hoon was at his side immediately. And Miss Folasade? I'm here too, sweetheart. The boy smiled and drifted back to sleep. Over the next 3 days, Folasade barely left the hospital. She brought work with her, made calls from the hallway. Mama Aduki brought her changes of clothes and food from home. You've made your choice, her grandmother said, not unkindly. I just hope you know what you're choosing. I don't, Folasade admitted. But I can't walk away now. Because of the child or the father? Both. Mama Aduke sighed. Then be careful. Men in his position don't change easily. The world they live in doesn't let them. Maybe he needs someone who believes he can anyway. On the 4th day, Min-ho was released. The doctor said he'd need rest and careful monitoring, but he could go home. Ji-hoon's driver brought the car around. Security was even tighter now. Folasade noticed 2 additional cars following them. At the apartment, Mrs. An had prepared Min-ho's room like a recovery sanctuary. Fresh flowers, his favorite snacks, new art supplies. Rest now, Ji-hoon told his son. You need to rebuild your strength. Will Miss Folasade stay? Min-ho asked, already half asleep. If she wants to, Ji-hoon said, looking at her. For a little while, Folasade agreed. Once Min-ho was settled, Ji-hoon and Folasade stood in the living room. The city lights glittered through the massive windows. Thank you, he said. For these past few days, I couldn't have managed without you. Yes, you could have, but you didn't have to. I should pay you for your time, your work, everything you've... Don't. Folasade's voice was sharp. Don't make this transactional. Don't reduce what we've been through to a business arrangement. I didn't mean... I know what you meant. You're used to buying solutions. Buying loyalty. Buying safety. She moved closer to him. But you can't buy what I'm offering. What are you offering? Honesty. Presence. Someone who stays because they choose to, not because they're paid to. Ji-hoon's expression cracked. I don't know how to accept that. Learn. He studied her face like he was memorizing it. Why? Why would you choose this? Choose us? We're complicated and dangerous and... Human, Folasade interrupted. You're human, flawed and struggling and trying, just like everyone else. I'm not like everyone else. No, you're not. But that doesn't mean you don't deserve someone who sees you anyway. The space between them felt charged, dangerous in a different way. If I kiss you right now, Ji-hoon said quietly, everything changes. There's no going back to simple. No pretending this is just about Min-ho. I know. And you're still here. I'm still here. He closed the distance slowly, giving her time to step away. She didn't. When his lips met hers, it was gentle, careful, like he was afraid she'd shatter. Folasade kissed him back with all the certainty she'd been trying to deny for weeks. When they finally pulled apart, Ji-hoon rested his forehead against hers. This is a mistake. Probably. I'm going to hurt you eventually. Maybe. Or maybe you won't. You have too much faith in me. Someone has to. She smiled. Consider it practice for having faith in yourself. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. You should get that, Folasade said. He glanced at the screen, and his expression hardened. I need to take this. Go, I'll stay with Min-ho. Ji-hoon kissed her forehead and stepped out onto the balcony. Through the glass, Folasade watched him. saw his body language shift from the gentle man she'd just kissed to someone else entirely. Someone hard, commanding, dangerous. She thought about what she was choosing, about the warnings everyone had given her. Then she thought about Min-ho's smile, about Ji-hoon's vulnerability, about the possibility of something real beneath all the complications. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Stay away from Kang Ji-hoon if you value your life. This is your only warning." Folasade's blood ran cold. She stared at the message, reading it again, and again. Ji-hoon came back inside. One look at her face, and he was moving. "What happened?" She handed him her phone. His expression went from concerned to furious in seconds. "When did this come?" "Just now?" He was already dialing, spoke rapid Korean into his phone, his voice like ice. Ended the call and looked at her. "Pack a bag. You're staying here tonight." "Ji-hoon, this isn't a request. Someone just threatened you, in my city, because of me." His jaw was tight. "You're not going home until I know you're safe." "You can't just order me around." "I can when your life is at stake." He gentled his voice with visible effort. "Please, let me protect you. Just until we figure out who sent this." "Who do you think sent it?" "Could be anyone. I have enemies." He ran a hand through his hair. "But threatening you is crossing a line. They know it, which means they're desperate or stupid. Or both. Or both." He moved to the windows and closed the curtains. "I'm going to have 2 guards stationed outside the apartment, 2 more in the lobby." "This is insane. This is my world. Welcome to it." Folasade felt anger bubble up. "I didn't ask for this." "No, you asked to be in Min-ho's life, in mine. This comes with that territory." His eyes were hard. "Still want to stay?" It was a challenge, a test, an escape route if she wanted it. Folasade thought about running, about going back to her simple life where the biggest danger was bureaucratic red tape. Then she thought about Min-ho asking for his angel, about Ji-hoon's forehead against hers, about choosing to stay even when staying was terrifying. "Yes," she said. "I still want to stay." Something in Ji-hoon's expression softened. "You're either very brave or very foolish." "Can't I be both?" Despite everything, he almost smiled. "Mrs. An will prepare the guest room. I can sleep on the couch." "You're not sleeping on the couch." He was already walking away. "And tomorrow we are having a conversation about boundaries and safety protocols." "Romantic," Folasade muttered. "Necessary," he called back. That night, lying in the guest room with its expensive sheets and city view, Folasade couldn't sleep. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow seemed threatening. Around 2 in the morning, she gave up and went to check on Min-ho. The boy was fast asleep, his breathing easier now. She stood in the doorway watching him, this child who'd somehow become so important to her in such a short time. "He sleeps better when you're here." Folasade turned. Ji-hoon stood in the hallway, also clearly unable to sleep. He wore simple pajama pants and a t-shirt. Somehow he looked more vulnerable this way than in all his expensive suits. "I was just checking on him." "I know. I heard you get up." He moved closer. "I can't sleep either." "Worried?" "Always. But tonight more than usual." He leaned against the doorframe. "I've made a lot of enemies, Folasade. Done things that made people hate me. But I've always kept that separate from Min-ho, from anything personal. Until now. Until now. Because of you." He wasn't accusing, just stating fact. "They see you as leverage, a weakness they can exploit." So what do? We make it clear that touching you means starting a war they can't win. His voice was cold. I've already made some calls, sent some messages. By tomorrow, everyone will know that you're under my protection. That sounds ominous. It is, but it's also effective. He looked at her. This is what I meant when I said I wasn't a good man. This is the part of my life I wanted to keep you away from. Too late now. Too late now, he agreed quietly. They stood in silence for a moment, both watching Min-ho sleep. What if they don't care about your warnings? Folasade asked. What if they come after me anyway? Then I'll burn their entire organization to the ground. There was no drama in his voice, no exaggeration, just cold certainty. I've done it before. I'll do it again. That's terrifying. Good, it should be, because that's what happens when someone threatens what's mine. I'm not yours, Ji-hoon. He turned to look at her fully. Aren't you? The question hung between them, heavy with meaning. I don't know what I am, Folasade admitted. This all happened so fast. One moment I'm stopping 2 men from hurting a child. The next I'm getting death threats and sleeping in a penthouse with armed guards. You can still leave. I'll make sure you're protected. Set up security at your apartment. Have someone watch your grandmother. But you don't have to stay here. Don't have to be part of this. And Min-ho will understand, eventually. Will you? Ji-hoon's silence was answer enough. I'm not leaving, Folasade said. Not because I'm brave or stupid, but because walking away means they win. Means they get to control my life through fear. I've spent my career fighting for kids who have no power. I'm not going to let someone scare me away from fighting for this one. Even if it costs you? Even if it costs me. Ji-hoon moved closer, until they were just inches apart. You're extraordinary. Do you know that? I'm terrified. So am I. For you. Because of you. He touched her face gently. I haven't cared about someone like this since Yoonji died. Haven't let myself. And now you're here and you're in danger because of me and I... His phone rang. At 2 in the morning, he answered it, listened. His expression went from soft to granite. When? Pause. How many? Pause. Handle it. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He ended the call. What happened? Folasade asked. One of my warehouses just caught fire. Suspicious origin. Same night you... Get a threat. His jaw clenched. They're escalating. You have to go. I don't want to leave you and Min-ho. We have security here. You said so yourself. Go handle whatever needs handling. Ji-hoon looked torn. If anything happens while I'm gone, nothing will happen. We'll be fine. She hoped she sounded more confident than she felt. Go. He kissed her quickly, fiercely. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone except Mrs. Ahn. My head of security has my authorization to shoot first and ask questions later. That's comforting. It's meant to be. He was already moving, pulling on clothes, grabbing his phone. I'll be back as soon as I can. After he left, Folasade locked the door as instructed, checked on Min-ho again. The boy was still sleeping peacefully, unaware of the chaos around him. She went back to the guest room but knew sleep was impossible now. Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. The fire is just the beginning. Last chance to walk away. Tomotenturnasen's hands were shaking. She forwarded the message to Ji-hoon. His response was immediate. Don't respond. Don't engage. I'm handling it. But how did you handle people who burned buildings and sent death threats? How did you fight shadows? Folasade sat on the edge of the bed, hugging her knees to her chest. She thought about calling Mama a duke, thought about packing her things and running. Then she thought about Min-ho's face when he saw her at the hospital, about the way Ji-hoon looked at her like she was something precious and terrifying all at once, about choosing to stay even when staying was the harder path. She was still sitting there when dawn broke over Seoul. Ji-hoon came back 3 hours later. He looked exhausted. His clothes smelled like smoke. "Are you okay?" Folasade asked, meeting him at the door. "The warehouse is gone. Total loss. But no one was hurt." He pulled off his jacket. They timed it for when it would be empty. This was about sending a message, not killing. People. "What message?" "That they can hurt me, hurt what I've built." He looked at her with hollow eyes. "That nothing is safe." "Who are they?" "An organization I pushed out of Seoul 6 months ago. They've been trying to regain foothold ever since." He moved to the window, stared out at the city. "I thought I'd crushed them completely. Apparently I was wrong." "What are you going to do?" "End this. Permanently." The coldness in his voice made her shiver. "Ji-hoon, you can't just—" "I can, and I will." He turned to face her. "They threatened you. Threatened my business. All while my son is recovering from being sick. They've crossed every line." "So what, you're going to kill them?" Folasade's voice rose. "Start a war in the middle of Seoul?" "If necessary." "And what happens to Min-ho when his father ends up dead or in prison?" That stopped him. Ji-hoon's hands clenched into fists at his sides. "I've spent my entire adult life building something," he said quietly. "Creating order in chaos. Protecting what's mine. I can't just let them destroy it." "I'm not asking you to let them. I'm asking you to think about the cost." Folasade moved closer to him. "You said Yoonji's last words were asking you to be the man she knew you could be. Is this that man? The one who responds to threats with more violence? You don't understand this world. No, I don't. But I understand children who lose parents. I see them every day, and I'm asking you not to make Min-ho one of them." Ji-hoon's control was fracturing. "Then what do you want me to do? Just accept this? Let them keep coming?" "I want you to be smart, strategic, not reactive." She took his hands. They were shaking. "You said you control distribution networks. You understand leverage, so use it. Find a way to stop them that doesn't end with you in a grave. You're asking me to show mercy to people who want to hurt you. I'm asking you to show wisdom for your son." He pulled away, paced to the other side of the room. "I need to make calls, arrange things." "Ji-hoon, please, I just need to think." Folasade watched him disappear into his study, heard the door lock. She checked on Min-ho again. The boy was awake now, playing quietly with his art supplies. "Good morning, sweetheart. How do you feel?" "Better. My chest doesn't hurt as much." He looked up at her. "Is Appa okay? I heard him come home. He sounded upset." "He's just dealing with work stuff. Nothing for you to worry about." "He always says that." Min-ho's voice was small. "But I know when something's wrong. The guards are different today, more of them. They look scared." Folasade's heart broke at how perceptive this child was, how much he'd learned to read the danger around him. "Your dad is protecting you, that's all." "Is he protecting you too?" "Yes." "Good, because I don't want anything to happen to you." Min-ho grabbed her hand. "Promise you'll stay, even when things are scary?" Folasade thought about the threats. The fame, fire. The coldness in Ji-hoon's eyes when he talked about ending this. "I promise I'll try my best," she said. because she couldn't lie to him. That afternoon, Ji-hoon's head of security came to the apartment. A man named Choi, mid-40s, military-bearing. He looked at Folasade like she was a particularly difficult logistics problem. "Miss Folasade, we need to discuss your security arrangements," he said in careful English. "I'm listening." "You can't go to work tomorrow, or the next day, possibly not for the next week." "That's not possible. I have cases. Kids who need me." "With respect, you have people trying to kill you. Your cases can wait." "Children in crisis can't wait, Mr. Choi." His jaw tightened. "Then we'll need to provide security detail. 2 agents minimum. They'll need access to your workplace, advance notice of your schedule, and veto power over any unexpected movements." "That will terrify the kids I work with. These are children who've been traumatized, who don't trust authority figures. You can't have armed guards following me around." "Then you can't go to work." "That's unacceptable." They stared at each other, neither backing down. Ji-hoon appeared in the doorway. "What's going on?" "Your girlfriend is being unreasonable about her safety," Choi said flatly. "I'm not his girlfriend, and I'm being realistic about my job," Folasade shot back. "Everyone stop." Ji-hoon held up a hand. "Choi, give us a moment." The security chief left, but not before giving Folasade a look that said this conversation wasn't over. "You can't go to work right now," Ji-hoon said once they were alone. "Yes, I can. And I will." "Folasade, these people are serious. The threat is real. So are the 15 kids on my caseload who depend on me showing up, who've already been abandoned by every adult in their lives. I'm not abandoning them, too. I'm trying to keep you alive. I'm trying to keep living. There's a difference." She crossed her arms. "I appreciate the protection. Really? But I'm not going to hide in this apartment while my life falls apart." "Your life falling apart is better than you dying." "Is it? Because from where I'm standing, letting fear control every decision isn't much of a life at all." Ji-hoon's expression shifted. "You sound like her. Like Yoonji. She said the same thing when I tried to keep her safe." "And what did you tell her?" "That I couldn't lose her. That she needed to be careful. To think about Minho." His voice cracked slightly. "And then I lost her anyway. Not to violence or enemies. To something I couldn't control or fight or negotiate with." Folasade's anger softened. "I'm not her, Ji-hoon. And this isn't cancer. This is something we can actually plan for. Prepare for." "How?" "Let me work with Choi. Figure out a security arrangement that doesn't traumatize vulnerable children. Maybe I do my home visits with plainclothes security. Maybe I adjust my schedule. But I keep working. And if something happens, then something happens. But I won't have given up who I am because someone sent a threatening text." Ji-hoon looked at her for a long moment. "You're going to give me a heart attack." "Better than giving yourself one by trying to control everything." Despite the tension, he almost smiled. "Fine. Work with Choi. But any sign of danger and you pull back immediately. Non-negotiable." "Deal." Over the next few days, a strange new normal emerged. Folasade went to work with security she pretended not to notice. Plain clothes, different faces each day. They kept their distance, but she always knew they were there. The kids noticed anyway. "Miss Folasade, why is that man always outside?" asked Ji-woo, a 9-year-old who missed nothing. "Just a friend making sure I get home safe." "Because someone's trying to hurt you?" Folasade froze. "What makes you say that?" "That's what friends are for when people are in danger. My mom had friends like that before she died. Ji-woo's eyes were too knowing. It's okay. I understand. That night, Folasade told Ji-hoon about the conversation. These kids see too much, she said. They were having dinner at his apartment. Minho was asleep. It felt almost domestic. They recognize patterns of danger because they've lived through them. Like Minho, Ji-hoon said quietly. Like Minho, she agreed. I don't want him growing up like that, always watching, always waiting for the next threat. Then give him something different. Show him there's another way. How? This is all I know. Folasade reached across the table and took his hand. Then learn something new. With him? With me? Ji-hoon's phone rang. He glanced at it, and his expression changed. I need to take this. He stepped away. Folasade could hear the sharp exchange. Korean and Russian mixed together, his voice getting colder with each word. When he came back, he looked different. Harder. They made contact, he said. Want to negotiate? That's good, right? Maybe, or it's a trap. He sat down heavily. They want a meeting. Tomorrow night. Neutral territory. Are you going? I have to. This is the only way to end this without more violence. What do they want? Money, territory, access to roots they lost. He rubbed his face. Things I can negotiate, but I don't trust them. Then bring backup, lots of it. I will. But Folasade, if this goes wrong... He stopped. It won't. You can't know that. No, but I can have faith in you, in your ability to handle this. She squeezed his hand. You've survived this long. You'll survive tomorrow. And if I don't? Then Minho will have me, and I promise you I'll make sure he knows how much his father loved him. How hard you fought to give him a better life. Ji-hoon's eyes were bright. I need you to promise me something. What? If something happens to me, take Minho and leave Seoul. Go somewhere safe, somewhere my enemies can't find you. He pulled out a small key. This is for a safe deposit. Box. Everything you'll need is there. Money, documents, contacts who can help. Ji-hoon, stop, you're coming back. Promise me anyway, please. Folasade took the key with shaking hands. I promise, but you're coming back. He pulled her close and kissed her, desperate, like he was memorizing the feel of her. I'm coming back, he whispered against her lips. I have too much to lose now. The next evening felt like waiting for a bomb to explode. Ji-hoon left at 7. 3 cars, 8 men, military precision. Minho sensed something was wrong. Where's Appa going? He asked Folasade. Just a business meeting, sweetheart. The scary kind? The important kind, Folasade said, trying to keep her voice steady. But he'll be back before you know it. Minho wasn't convinced. Can we wait up for him? It might be very late. I don't mind. I want to see him come home. The boy's eyes were wide with worry. Please. Folasade couldn't say no to that face. Okay. But you need to rest. Doctor's orders. They settled on the couch together. Minho curled against her side while she read to him. But every few minutes, his eyes would drift to the door. Mrs. An brought them tea and cookies. She said nothing, but Folasade saw the worry lines around her eyes. 8 o'clock passed, then 9, then 10. Folasade's phone buzzed. Ji-hoon. Still talking. Slower than expected, don't wait up. She texted back. Minho wants to see you come home. Be safe. Ji-hoon. Always. But something felt wrong. The word always felt too final. Too much like goodbye. At 10:30, Choi appeared in the doorway. His face was grim. What happened? Folasade asked immediately, careful to keep her voice low. Minho had finally dozed off against her. There's been a complication. The meeting location was compromised. Mr. Kang had to relocate. Is he okay? For now. But the situation is volatile. Choi's jaw tightened. I've been ordered to increase security here. No one in or out without verification. What does that mean? It means we're on lockdown until this is resolved. Folasade felt ice in her veins. How long? As long as it takes. She looked down at Minho, sleeping peacefully, unaware of the danger circling his father. He needs to come home. Mr. Kang knows what he's doing. Does he? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's walking into a war. He's trying to prevent a war, Choi corrected. There's a difference. Folasade wanted to scream, wanted to demand they go get Ji-hoon and bring him back. But she knew that wasn't how this world worked. At 11:15, her phone rang. Ji-hoon's name on the screen. She answered immediately. Are you okay? I'm fine. But his voice was tight, stressed. Is Minho asleep? Yes. He tried to wait up, but exhaustion won. Good. That's good. A pause. Folasade, things are more complicated than I thought. These people, they're not just asking for territory back. They want me out completely, want Seoul to themselves. What did you tell them? That I'd think about it. He laughed without humor. A lie, obviously, but it bought time. Time for what? To figure out how to dismantle them without starting a war. Another pause. Voices in the background. I have to go, but Folasade, listen to me. If anything happens tonight, if things go wrong, Choi knows what to do. He'll get you and Minho out. Nothing's going to happen. Promise me you'll go if he says to. Don't argue, don't hesitate. Just take Minho and run. Ji-hoon, you're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. Because if this goes sideways, these people will come for everyone I care about. And that means you. His voice dropped. I love you. I know it's too soon to say that. I know we barely know each other. But I need you to know. In case I don't get to say it later. Folasade's eyes filled with tears. Don't talk like that. I love you, he repeated. And I love that you make Minho smile. That you stayed when anyone else would have run. That you're brave and stubborn, and you see people for who they are, not what they do. Ji-hoon, I have to go. Keep Minho safe. Keep yourself safe. I'll be home as soon as I can. The line went dead. Folasade sat there, phone still pressed to her ear, tears streaming down her face. Mrs. An appeared with a blanket, draped it over Minho gently, then looked at Folasade with knowing eyes. He always does this, the older woman said quietly in accented English. Makes everything sound like goodbye, but he always comes home. Always. How can you be sure? Because he has too much to lose now. Before, when it was just survival, he took risks. But now. She gestured to Minho. Now he has reasons to be careful. Folasade wanted to believe that. Desperately. At midnight, gunfire echoed somewhere in the distance. Too far to be close. Too close to ignore. Choi's radio crackled. Rapid Korean. His expression went dark. What is it? Folasade demanded. Warehouse. District. Multiple reports of shots fired. He listened to the radio again. Mr. Kang's location. We need to go to him. My orders are to keep you here. I don't care about your orders, that's... She stopped. Minho was stirring. Take us somewhere safe first, then go help him. Miss Folasade, he needs backup. You know he does. So take us to your secondary location or wherever you have planned, then go. Choi studied her for a moment. Made a decision. Get Minho. We move in 2 minutes. Folasade scooped up the half-awake child. "We're going on an adventure, sweetheart." "Where's Appa?" Minho asked sleepily. "He'll meet us soon." Choi had 3 cars ready. They moved with military precision. Minho fell back asleep in her arms during the drive. They ended up at a secured building in Gangnam. Underground parking. Elevator that required 3 different key cards. A safe house. The apartment was smaller than Ji-hoon's penthouse, but just as well appointed, and clearly designed for exactly this situation. "Stay here," Choi ordered. "Don't open the door for anyone but me or Mr. Kang. There's food, water, medical supplies if needed." "Go help him," Folasade said. Choi nodded and was gone. The apartment was silent except for Minho's breathing. Folasade laid him on the bed in the bedroom, covered him carefully. Then she sat in the living room with her phone, waiting. 1 a.m., no news. 2 a.m., still nothing. At 2:30, her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Miss Folasade?" A voice she didn't recognize. Korean accent. "This is Detective Kim. We met the night you saved Minho." "Is Ji-hoon okay?" "There's been an incident. Mr. Kang is alive, but he's been taken to the hospital." The room spun. "What happened?" "Gunshot wound. Non-life-threatening, but he's in surgery now." A pause. "He asked me to call you, to tell you he's sorry." "Which hospital?" "Asan Medical Center. But Miss Folasade, it's not safe for you to come. The people who did this are still out. There." "I don't care." "Mr. Kang specifically said you should stay with Minho, that the child needs you more." Folasade looked at the bedroom door, at the sleeping boy who'd already lost 1 parent. "How bad is it really?" she asked quietly. "The bullet went through his shoulder. Missed major arteries. He'll recover." Detective Kim's voice softened. "But it was close. Very close." "Did they catch who did it?" "Working on it. The warehouse district is chaos right now. Multiple casualties. Mr. Kang's security team returned fire. It's going to take days to sort out what happened." "Is he awake?" "In and out. But when he's lucid, he keeps asking about his son, about you." "Tell him we're safe. Tell him Minho is still sleeping. Tell him—" Her voice broke. "Tell him we're waiting for him." "I will." After the call ended, Folasade sat in the dark and cried. Silent tears so she wouldn't wake Minho. At 4 a.m., Minho appeared in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. "Where are we?" he asked. "Somewhere safe." "Where's Appa?" Folasade took a breath. She couldn't lie to him. Not about this. "Your dad had to go to the hospital, but he's going to be okay." Minho's face went white. "Like Mama?" "No, baby, not like Mama. He's hurt, but the doctors are fixing him. He's going to come home." "Promise?" "I promise." She opened her arms, and Minho ran to her, climbed into her lap even though he was getting too big for it. "He made me promise to take care of you, so that's what I'm doing." "I'm scared." "Me too. But you're still here." "I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere." They sat like that until dawn broke through the windows, 2 people waiting for a third to come home. At 6 a.m., Folasade's phone rang again. Ji-hoon's number. She answered with shaking hands. "Hello? It's me." His voice was rough, exhausted, but alive. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." "Are you okay?" "I've been better. Shoulder's going to be sore for a while, but I'm alive." A pause. "Is Minho there?" "Yes. Do you want to talk to him?" "Please." She handed the phone to Minho. "It's your dad." "Appa?" Minho's voice was small. "Are you okay?" Whatever Ji-hoon said made the boy's face crumble. He started crying. "But you're coming home?" Long pause. "Okay. I love you too, Appa." He handed the phone back to Folasade. He wants to talk to you again, Minho said. Folasade took the phone. I'm here. Thank you for taking care of him, for being there. Always. She used his word deliberately. The situation is contained, for now. Choi will bring you both to the hospital in a few hours, once the doctors clear me. What happened, Ji-hoon? We negotiated. They didn't like the terms. Someone got trigger-happy. He sounded so tired. But it's over. They're done. Finished. They won't come after us again. At what cost? Folasade asked quietly. A cost I'll have to live with. His voice was heavy. But you and Minho are safe. That's what matters. You matter too. I know. I'm starting to believe that. A pause. I need to go. The doctors are coming back. But Folasade, when I see you, we need to talk. Really talk. About everything. I know. I love you. Tell Minho I love him. We love you too. The words came out before she could stop them, but she meant them. Somehow, in the chaos and danger and fear, she'd fallen in love with this complicated, dangerous, tender man and his beautiful son. When Choi came to get them 3 hours later, Minho was dressed and ready, clutching a drawing he'd made for his father. The hospital was swarming with security. Ji-hoon's men mixed with police. Detective Kim met them at the entrance. He's in room 312, the detective said. Private wing, fully secured. Can we see him? Folasade asked. He's been asking for you both since he woke up. Minho grabbed her hand and pulled her forward. They navigated hallways and checkpoints until they reached Ji-hoon's room. He was sitting up in bed, his shoulder heavily bandaged. His face was pale, but his eyes were alert. Appa? Minho ran to him. Careful, buddy. Gently. But Ji-hoon was smiling, his good arm wrapping around his son. I'm okay. See? Just a little scratch. That's not a little scratch. Minho was crying again. You got shot? Yeah, I did. But I'm going to be fine. He looked at Folasade over Minho's head. Thanks to some very good doctors and some very brave people. Folasade moved closer, took in the monitors, the IV line, the exhaustion written across his features. You look terrible, she said. You look beautiful. Minho giggled through his tears. Appa's being romantic. Appa's on a lot of painkillers, Ji-hoon said wryly. But he means it anyway. A nurse came in to check vitals, gave them a few minutes, warning that they'd need to let him rest soon. Minho, Ji-hoon said gently, can you give me and Miss Folasade a few minutes alone? But I just got here. I know, and you can come right back. I just need to talk to her about grown-up things first. Minho looked between them. Are you going to ask her to marry you? Minho! Folasade felt her face heat. Ji-hoon laughed, then winced at the movement. Not today, buddy, but good to know I have your approval. Mrs. An appeared in the doorway. Come, Minho. Let's get some juice and find a good place to show your father that drawing. Once they were alone, Ji-hoon's expression turned serious. What happened last night? Folasade asked. We met, talked. They wanted everything. My territory, my connections, my business. Wanted me to disappear. He shifted carefully in the bed. I offered them money, a percentage of future earnings, access to some secondary routes, everything reasonable. But they didn't want reasonable. No, they wanted blood, revenge for being pushed out. His jaw tightened. The meeting was supposed to be neutral ground, no weapons, no violence, but they came armed anyway. And you? I'm not stupid. I came prepared too. He looked at his bandaged shoulder. But not prepared enough. Someone got a shot off before my men could respond. Did anyone die? 3 of theirs. None of mine, thank God. His voice was hollow. More blood on my hands. More ghosts to keep me awake at night. Folasade sat on the edge of his bed carefully, took his good hand. What happens now? Now we rebuild. Their organization is shattered. The survivors will scatter or be absorbed by others. Seoul is quiet again. He looked at their joined hands. But this can't keep happening. I can't keep putting you and Minho through this. So what are you saying? I'm saying I need to change. Really change, not just talk about it. He met her eyes. I'm going to start transitioning out of the gray areas. Focus on legitimate business only. It'll take time, maybe years, but I'm done with this life. Because you got shot? Because I almost died without telling you I love you. Because Minho could have lost both parents. Because you deserve better than waiting up, at night wondering if I'm coming home. His grip tightened on her hand. Because I want a life with you, Folasade. A real life, not this constant survival. That's a lot of pressure to put on a relationship that's only a few weeks old. I know. And if it's too much, if you want to walk away, I'll understand. His eyes were honest, vulnerable. But I need you to know what I'm choosing, what I want to fight for. Folasade thought about the threats, the fear, the nights of worry, the complexity of loving a man like Ji-hoon. Then she thought about Minho's smile, about Ji-hoon's gentle hands on his son's shoulders, about the way he'd called her in the middle of a gunfight to tell her he loved her. I have conditions, she said finally. Name them. No more lies, not even little ones, not even to protect me. Agreed. No more secrets about your business. If it affects us, I need to know. Agreed. If danger comes, you don't shut me out. We face it together. That's harder. My instinct is to protect you. Then work on your instincts, because I'm not a child and I'm not fragile. I'm a partner or I'm nothing. Ji-hoon studied her face for a long moment. You're terrifying. You know that? Good. You need someone who won't back down. I really do. He pulled her closer with his good arm. Anything else? Yes. Minho comes first, always. Before me, before your business, before everything. That was already true, but I'm glad you said it. And one more thing. What? You have to actually go through with this transition, not just talk about it. I need to see real change, real effort. It won't be easy. I have obligations, people who depend on me. I know. But if you can dismantle criminal organizations, you can dismantle your own involvement in them. Ji-hoon smiled despite the pain. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You were just too busy being mysterious and dangerous to notice. He laughed, then groaned. Don't make me laugh. It hurts. Good. Maybe pain will keep you honest. You're cruel. You love it. I really do. He pulled her down for a kiss. Gentle because of his injuries, but full of promise. Stay with me? Here, tonight? I know the hospital isn't romantic, but I don't want to be alone. What about Minho? Mrs. An will take him home. Make sure he eats, sleeps, feels safe. But I need you here. Always making demands, Folasade teased. Only when it matters. That night, after Minho left with promises to visit tomorrow, Folasade curled up in the chair beside Ji-hoon's bed. She held his hand while he slept, watched the monitors, and thought about the future. About a man trying to change. About a boy who needed stability. About a woman who'd chosen the complicated path because the easy one felt empty. Around midnight, Ji-hoon woke up. "You're still here. Where else would I be? Smart woman would have run by now." "Good thing I'm not that smart," he smiled. "Come here." She climbed carefully, onto the bed beside him, mindful of his injuries. He wrapped his good arm around her. "Thank you," he whispered, "for staying, for believing I can change, for loving Min-ho. Thank you for letting me in, even though it terrifies you." "Everything about you terrifies me, in the best possible way." They lay there in the quiet hospital room, listening to machines beep and monitors hum. Two people who'd found each other in chaos, trying to build something steady. 3 days later, Ji-hoon was released from the hospital. The doctor cleared him with strict orders about rest and physical therapy. Min-ho insisted on making a "Welcome Home" banner. It was crooked and covered in glitter and absolutely perfect. Over the next month, life found a new rhythm. Ji-hoon worked from home mostly, his shoulder healing slowly. He had meetings, always with security present, but they were different now. Less shadowy figures, more legitimate business partners. Folasade went back to work, still with security but more discreet. The kids on her caseload stopped asking about the men who followed her, and Min-ho started smiling more, started talking about the future instead of the past. "Miss Folasade," he said one evening at dinner. "Can I call you something else?" "Like what, sweetheart?" "I don't know. Miss Folasade feels too formal. But you're not my mom." He looked down at his rice. "Even though sometimes I wish you were." Folasade's throat tightened. She glanced at Ji-hoon, who was watching them both carefully. "You can call me whatever feels right," she said gently. "What about Saad? That's what my family calls me." "Sade." Min-ho tested the name, smiled. "I like it. It's special. Just for us." "Just for us," Folasade agreed, her heart full. Ji-hoon reached across the table and squeezed her hand. The look in his eyes said everything he couldn't say in front of Min-ho. That night, after Min-ho was asleep, they sat on the balcony together. Seoul glittered below them, alive and restless. "I met with my lawyers today," Ji-hoon said. "Started the official process of divesting from the gray operations." "How long will it take?" 2 years, maybe 3. I have to extract carefully. Can't just disappear overnight or it creates a power vacuum. People get hurt in power vacuums." "I understand." "Do you? Because 2 years is a long time to wait for a normal life." Folasade turned to face him. "Ji-hoon, I'm not waiting for you to become someone else. I'm choosing to be with you while you become who you want to be. There's a difference." "What if I can't do it? What if I fail?" "Then we figure it out together." "But you won't fail. You're too stubborn." He laughed. "Is that a compliment?" "It's an observation." He pulled her closer, his shoulder still stiff but healing. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway." "Good." He kissed her temple. "Because I'm not letting you go." 6 months later, things had shifted in ways both small and profound. The restaurant Ji-hoon had bought, legitimate, clean money, was thriving. He worked there several days a week, learning the business from the ground up. "I'm terrible at this," he admitted one evening, showing Folasade the books. "I can negotiate multi-million-dollar deals in 3 languages, but restaurant accounting defeats me." "That's because you're used to numbers that don't have to make sense on paper," she teased. "Fair point." Min-ho had started calling the restaurant Appa's Project. He loved visiting, loved watching his father do something normal, something safe. The security was still present, but less visible. Choi and his team had stepped back to advisory roles. People still remember who you are, Choi warned. That doesn't just go away. I know, Ji-hoon said, but every day I'm someone different. Eventually, that's who people will see. Folasade had moved into the penthouse officially 3 months ago. Mama Aduke had been skeptical, but supportive. You've made your choice, her grandmother said. I just hope he's worth it. He is. They both are. Now, sitting at dinner on a random Tuesday, Folasade watched Ji-hoon help Min-ho with his homework, watched the easy affection between them, watched this man who'd once commanded fear, now commanding only patience and love. Appa, I can't figure out this math problem, Min-ho complained. Show me. They bent over the textbook together, father and son, so alike in the way they concentrated. Folasade's phone buzzed, a text from one of her colleagues. Crisis at the center. Can you come? She stood. I need to go. One of my kids is in trouble. I'll have Choi drive you, Ji-hoon said immediately. I can take a cab. Humor me, please. She kissed his cheek. Fine, but only because you asked nicely. At the community center, she found 15-year-old Mina having a breakdown. The girl had been in 4 foster homes in 6 months, each one worse than the last. I can't do this anymore, Mina sobbed. I can't keep pretending it's going to get better. Folasade held her while she cried, made calls, pulled strings, found an emergency placement with a foster family she personally trusted. By the time she got back to the penthouse, it was past midnight. Ji-hoon was still awake, working on his laptop. How's your kid? He asked. Stable, for now. But the system is so broken, Ji-hoon. These children deserve better. He closed his laptop. What if we gave them better? What do you mean? The restaurant was step 1, getting out of the gray areas, building something legitimate. He stood, moved to stand in front of her. But what if we did more? What if we created a foundation, something to help kids like the ones you work with? Folasade stared at him. You're serious? Completely. I have resources, connections, money that needs to be used for something good instead of just sitting in accounts. His eyes were intense. You have experience, passion. You know what these kids need. Together, we could actually make a difference. That's a massive undertaking. I'm aware, but I'm good at massive undertakings. And I have time now. Time I used to spend on things I'm not proud of. He took her hands. Let me do this. Let me turn something dark into something that helps people. Folasade felt tears prick her eyes. You really have changed. I'm trying. Every day. He smiled. You make me want to be better. No, you make yourself want to be better. I just believe you can. That night they talked for hours about possibilities, about structures, about how to help children who'd fallen through every crack in the system. Min-ho wandered out around 2 a.m., rubbing his eyes. Why are you both still awake? Planning something, Ji-hoon said. Something good? Something very good. Come here, buddy. Min-ho climbed into his father's lap, still half asleep. Are you going to marry Sud? Folasade choked on her water. Ji-hoon just smiled. Why do you ask? Because you look at her the way you used to look at Mama, in the pictures. Min-ho yawned. And because I want her to stay forever. What if she wants to stay forever too? Ji-hoon asked, looking at Folasade. Then you should probably ask her properly, Min-ho said matter-of-factly, with a ring and everything. You're 7. How do you know about proposals? TV, Appa, obviously. They all laughed, and in that moment, Folasade knew. This was her family, complicated and unconventional and built from chaos, but hers. 2 weeks later, Ji-hoon took her to the Han River at sunset. Min-ho was with Mrs. An, supposedly doing homework. "This feels suspiciously like a setup," Folasade said. "Maybe it is." Ji-hoon stopped walking, turned to face her. "Folasade, 7 months ago, you stepped between my son and danger. You didn't know us, didn't owe us anything, but you stayed anyway." "Ji-hoon, let me finish, please." He took a breath. "You stayed through threats and violence and me being an idiot about pushing you away for your own good. You stayed when I was shot. You stayed while I figured out how to be someone worthy of staying for." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "You're not—" Folasade's hands flew to her mouth. "I am." He opened the box. A simple band with a single stone. Elegant and understated. "I'm not perfect. I'm still working on becoming the man I want to be. But I know I want to do that work with you beside me. As my partner. My wife. Min-ho's mother, if you'll have us." Tears streamed down Folasade's face. "You're supposed to kneel." "My shoulder's still healing. Can I get a pass?" "No." He laughed and carefully lowered himself to one knee. "Folasade Adeyemi, will you marry me? Will you take on a man with a questionable past and a son who already loves you? Will you help me build something good from the ashes of who I used to be?" "Yes." The word came out choked. "Yes, yes, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger with shaking hands, stood carefully, and pulled her into his arms. "I love you," he whispered against her hair. "I'll spend the rest of my life proving I was worth the risk." "You already have." They stood there as the sun set over Seoul. Two people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way. Building the most unlikely family. When they got back to the penthouse, Min-ho was waiting with a banner that read, "She said yes," in his messy handwriting. "You knew," Folasade accused, laughing through tears. "Appa asked my permission weeks ago," Min-ho said proudly. "I said yes immediately, because you're my angel, and now you get to stay forever." 3 months later, they stood in a small garden ceremony. Mama Aduki cried through the whole thing. Mrs. An dabbed her eyes discreetly. Min-ho stood between them, holding the rings. "Do you, Kang Ji-hoon, take Folasade as your wife?" the officiant asked. "I do, for all the days I'm given." "Do you, Folasade Adeyemi, take Ji-hoon as your husband?" "I do. Through every challenge and triumph." "Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife." They kissed as Min-ho cheered and the small gathering applauded. Later, at the reception at Ji-hoon's restaurant, Folasade watched her new husband dance with their son. Watched the way they laughed together. Watched the life they were building. "You did good, Sade," Mama Aduk said, appearing beside her. "He's not perfect, but he's trying, and that's worth more than people realize. Thank you for believing in me, in us. I believe in love that chooses to stay. That's the only kind that lasts." That night, after Min-ho was asleep and the celebration had ended, Ji-hoon and Folasade stood on their balcony overlooking Seoul. "Mrs. Kang," he said, testing the name, "I'm keeping Adeyemi too, hyphenated." "Of course you are," he smiled. "Mrs. Kang Adeyemi then." "Better." She leaned into him. "Are you happy?" "Terrified. Grateful, hopeful, happy." He kissed the top of her head. "All of it at once." "Good, because I have news." "What kind of news?" Folasade turned to face him, took his hands, placed them on her still flat stomach. "The kind that changes everything. Again." Ji-hoon's eyes went wide. "You're pregnant, about 6 weeks." For a moment, he just stared. Then his face crumpled with emotion. We're having a baby? We're having a baby. He pulled her close, careful and reverent. Minho's going to lose his mind. He's going to be an amazing big brother. Are you scared? Ji-hoon asked. Terrified, but also sure. This is right. We're right. They stood there in the Seoul night, two people who'd found each other across cultures and circumstances, building a family from choice and love and stubborn hope. Promise me something, Ji-hoon said softly. Anything. Promise that no matter what comes, we face it together. No more trying to protect each other by pushing away. We stand together or not at all. I promise. Do you? I promise. He kissed her, slow and deep. Thank you. For what? For seeing me, for staying, for making me believe I could be more than what I was. You were always more. You just needed someone to remind you. 6 months later, Minho held his baby sister for the first time. She had Ji-hoon's eyes and Folasade's smile. She's so small, the boy whispered, awed. You were this small once, Ji-hoon said. Can I help take care of her? We're counting on it, Folasade said. You're the big brother now. That's an important job. Minho beamed with pride. That evening, with his family around him, Ji-hoon looked at everything they'd built. His son, his wife, his daughter, the legitimate business, the foundation helping children, the life he'd fought so hard to create. Thank you, he whispered to Folasade as they watched Minho sing to his sister. For what? For believing a man like me could have this, could deserve this. You earned it, Ji-hoon. Every day you earn it. Outside, Seoul hummed with life. Inside, a family built from impossible circumstances held each other close, and in that moment, everything was exactly as it should be. If you enjoyed this story of love, redemption, and family against all odds, please hit that like button, leave a comment about which moment touched your heart most, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories of love and transformation. Your support helps us bring you more content like this. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more. Same time every day.